them white, they say you are brown. But only the angels of God is white now. Only the angels of God is white. So long, too long, so long, feel too long. Say, we've been sitting down for so long. We've been fooling around for too long. Arise from your sleep, Africa. Arise from your sleep, America. Yes, work to be done, Africa. Yes, work to be done, America. If we unite, we will be free. So long, for too long, so long, for too long. Remember, 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 Marcus Garvey, who have a dream for New Africa. Remember, 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 Martin Luther King, who have a dream for New America. Remember, remember, King Selassie, who was betrayed by his people. Remember, 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 Lord Jesus Christ.
It's 4 minutes gone past 10 a.m. This is your Feel Good Radio, Fresh 107.9 FM, Abeokuta. A great morning to you wherever you're listening to us from. Today is Monday. It's the 23rd day in the month of November 2020. And it's nice to know that you're there. Always, with your Feel Good Radio, Fresh 107.9 FM, Abeokuta. Majek Fashek with the song So Long. Kickstarting things this morning. Because it's a Monday morning. Usually, a number of us try to make sure that we have a great start to the week. Try to make sure that our Mondays go smooth because there is that belief that, having a great start to the week means that you would have a great week. Yes, it's good to start like that, but then just be good to yourself. Don't be too hard on yourself. Be nice to people around you, and let's see how things pan out. Thank you for joining us this morning. Wale Bakare is my name. Welcome to the platform. This Monday is the first installment of the program. We do this Mondays and Wednesdays every week from 10 o'clock to 11 o'clock. And we get to talk about issues that affect you and I. This morning on the program, we're getting some thoughts as regards the number of discussions going on across the country as far as the announcement that we have just plunged into a second recession in about 5 years. And that has gotten a lot of people talking. Economists, financial analysts, even Nigerians generally are talking about it. Quite a number of things have been said. We're getting some thoughts as regards that. But we'll start this morning by very quickly mentioning what the situation is as far as the COVID-19 pandemic is concerned. There's been some good news to some extent as far as a vaccine is concerned across some other parts of the world. I'll let you into that. And, of course, I'll give you the breakdown of the latest cases reported by the Nigeria Center for Disease Control and what our situation is as far as the COVID-19 is concerned. But that will be just as we kickstart the show, and then we'll get into talks as regards the discussions about the second recession for the country in the last 5 years. That is what will be getting our attention this morning. Remember, you can join us live on Facebook and drop your comments as we continue the discussion. You can as well drop your contributions on Twitter at Fresh FM Abeokuta, and we will be very glad to hear from you. Once again, welcome to the platform this Monday. There's a platform radio on Fresh 107.9 FM, Abeokuta. Thank you for joining us this Monday morning, the 23rd of November, 2020. This day makes it 3:28. Gone already in the year 2020. If you are one of those that love to do the countdown, remind yourself of what the year still holds as far as the number of days are concerned. There are 38 days remaining until the end of the year 2020. All the best in the remaining days. Still so many things that can be done in the remaining days. Well, very swiftly, I did say that we'll be kickstarting things by taking a look at the latest numbers reported by the Nigeria Center for Disease Control as far as the COVID-19 pandemic is concerned. Just before that, the Oxford University, they came out to say that tests on a vaccine for COVID-19 shows 70% efficacy. British Drugs Group, AstraZeneca, and the University of Oxford earlier today said their jointly developed vaccine against COVID-19 has shown an average efficacy of 70% in trials. According to the AstraZeneca chief executive Pascal Soriot, in a statement, he said the vaccine's efficacy and safety confirmed that it will be highly effective against COVID-19 and will have an immediate impact on this public health emergency. The results ranged between 62 and 90% efficacy depending on the vaccine dosage. The 70% average is lower compared with the efficacy of coronavirus vaccines trialed by rivals Pfizer and BioNTech and Moderna, which have come in above 90%. Anyway, whatever the situation is, whatever the comparison you make, many are saying that this news or latest developments are some positive developments as far as the fight against the COVID-19 pandemic is concerned, because in many parts of the world, the numbers continue to surge. The likes of the United States, that country has been the country that has been most affected by the COVID-19. They are bothered about the daily figures coming in, and that's the same for some other countries of the world. So you'd understand that that need to find a vaccine is very, very crucial. According to the Johns Hopkins University, I'll be giving you the figures according to the Johns Hopkins University globally in a moment. But according to the Nigeria Center for Disease Control, at the moment, we have 66,383 cases of the COVID-19 that have been recorded so far, although there's been a large chunk of those numbers that have recovered from the virus. We've had 1,167 people sadly pass on because of the virus. 62,076 have recovered. We currently have 3,140 active cases in the country. Lagos continues to have the highest number of active cases, 1,160, followed by the FCT with 467. And then there's Oyo State with 321 active cases. Thereafter, you have Nasarawa with 147. And then there's Kaduna 144. The duo of Plateau and Rivers, they both have 111 active cases. Ondo has 102. Well, just for the sake of concern, Ogun State right here currently has total active cases of 107. That's the figure as confirmed by the Nigeria Center for Disease Control. Yesterday, I saw the confirmation of 155 new cases. Lagos had the highest with 60. Katsina at 37, Kaduna at 35, FCT at 6, Ogun at 4, Edo and Kwara each at 3, Rivers and Kano each at 2, while Jigawa, Oyo and Taraba each had 1 new case. That's the situation as far as the COVID-19 is concerned here in Nigeria. But the global situation, according to the Johns Hopkins University, we've so far had 58,696,029 cases, out of which 1,388,724 people have died. The United States, they've had the highest number of deaths. 256,783 people have died of COVID. And there's Brazil with 169,183, and then India with 133,738. There's Mexico. They also have 101,676 people that have died. The UK, they've got 55,120. That's the top 5 countries with the highest deaths recorded. But the United States, they've had well over 12 million cases. India has had well over 9 million. Brazil, just a little over 6 million. And then there's France with well over 2 million. Russia as well with a little over 2 million. That's the highest cases country-wise. South Africa, as far as the African continent is concerned, they've had the highest cases. 767,679. That's the number of cases that they've had in South Africa. As far as COVID-19 cases are concerned, 20,903 people have died in that country. A number of people look at those numbers. They look at numbers reported by the NCDC, and they say, well, we've been lucky. But then some realists also talk about samples tested here compared to what we've tested, what have been tested in other parts of the world. But you can largely say that we've had some luck relatively as far as number of cases and especially number of fatalities are concerned. Of course, our thoughts and prayers with the loved ones and families of those who've died because of the COVID. At this moment, what is important to say is that we all need to continue to obey all guidelines, wear your face mask in public, wash your hands with soap and water, use alcohol-based sanitizers, and just protect yourselves as much as you can. More importantly, continue to educate people around you on the need to also protect themselves and the need to realize that the COVID-19 pandemic still very much amongst within us, or still very much living with us. So we have to continue to obey all these other guidelines. Anyway, that's the situation as far as the COVID is concerned. Hopefully we'll get some more good news as regards vaccine development and how effective those vaccines turn out to be eventually, because many say, or the belief is that will be the game changer as far as fighting the COVID-19 pandemic. So the platform this Monday morning on Fresh 107.9 FM Abeokuta. Thank you for staying with us. I did say that the issue of the country plunging into another recession will be getting our attention this morning. For those of you who do not know, I'm sure we probably all know, but in case you missed it, Nigeria already is officially in a recession. The Nigeria Bureau of Statistics released a report early Saturday morning, showing that we've had 2 consecutive quarters of negative growth. I remember that over time, we've spoken about the second quarter growth not being so great, and a number of people were saying, yes, we are in recession already, but we just have to wait for the figures for the third quarter that will be reported by the MBS before we can say officially we are in recession. But the figures came in on Saturday morning or late Friday, and talks about what we could have done, what we should do to get out of this as quickly as possible. I've started because there's this number of people that believe that, well, because of the COVID-19 and some other attendant issues, the dwindling oil prices and some other issues, that maybe this was inevitable, considering that even the bigger economies in the world went into recession, although some of them have come out of it. But there are also some that have said, well, despite the COVID-19, despite the dwindling oil prices, there are things we could have done to have avoided it, or things we can do to get out of it that we've continuously failed to do. A number of economic experts and interest groups have spoken about quite a number of things, talking about cutting costs and governance. Is an issue we continue to talk about in this part of the world. They say there's a need to diversify the economy, saying that enough is not being done as far as economic diversification is concerned. Yes, it's been mouthed a number of times. It's been talked about. The government continues to say they are doing this as far as agriculture is concerned, doing this as far as mining is concerned, doing that in some other areas, but more needs to be done. That has been the submission of some experts. So these talks are ongoing. And then there's the political angle. The opposition People's Democratic Party, for them, they say the fact that we're in another recession tells about the ineptitude of this government as regards economic management and all of that. So many things have been said. Of course, trust the politicians to lash onto issues and maybe use it to score points and all of that. But as a country, as a people in this country, it is bothering and worrisome that we are in another recession. Although I've listened to some people say, well, Nigerians have always been in recession and all, but when we talk about the economic terms, when we talk about the statistics, the figures that we work with, we just plunged into recession for a second time under this administration. and it's gotten a number of people talking. We're getting some thoughts as regards this from finance analyst Mr. Michael Ashade. Will be joining us via the telephone this morning, and we'll be talking about this together. As regards some of these things that we've spoken about, as regards things that can be done to avoid it or that could have been done to avoid it, and how well we did them, or whether indeed this is something that was inevitable because of the COVID-19 pandemic. Because I'll get some thoughts from you as well much later on at Fresh FM Abeokuta on Twitter. Talk to you via the phone lines. If you're watching live on Facebook, feel free to drop your contributions via that avenue as well. It's the platform this Monday morning. Don't go anywhere. Thank you for staying with us. The platform this Monday morning. Mr. Michael Ashad is a finance expert. He joins us this morning via the phone lines. I'll be talking about this latest development. Mr. Ashad, good morning. Good to hear your voice again on the program.
Yeah, good morning, Wale. Thanks for having me.
Well,
nice being on your program again.
Thank you very much. Let's just get straight to it. After the announcement or after that information became public that we were in recession, although it's something that we've spoken about for a while. I remember the other time you were on this program, you were talking about we'll just have to wait for the figures, but the suggestion is that we would plunge into recession. Was it? Do you really agree that it was inevitable because of the COVID-19 or the dwindling oil prices and some other issues? Or could we really have avoided this situation?
Thank you once again. Like you rightly mentioned in my last interview at your office there, I said we could have avoided it if we did some necessary things then. Though, it may have sounded too late then, but at least maybe it will have reduced the impact of the figure we are seeing now. Or totally avoided it. But it looks as if we are not doing anything. We did nothing. So we have really changed the narrative of what is telling us, of what we have plunged ourselves into right now.
Are you saying COVID or no COVID, falling oil prices or no falling oil prices, we could have avoided it?
Yeah, COVID or no COVID, we could have avoided it. Like I said it then, that's for the COVID. In quotes, many activities became virtually done. Became done online virtually, which we have taken advantage of. Like I said, the last time we have a ministry of digital economy. What has been digitalized in our governance? Basically nothing, apart from maybe the fake meetings next and some other meetings by the VP, and that's the only thing that has moved into the virtual space. Every other thing is not virtually done. National Assembly is still meeting physically. Because they still want to have that physical presence, maybe to share one or two VP, I really know.
Mm-hmm. So you,
because even in the US, when they had to, during the COVID, in the heat of the COVID pandemic, when they had to interview Anthony Fauci, it was virtually done. All the senators were connected from their various locations. It wasn't a physical gathering.
So let's talk about some of these things that you say we could have done or we should have done. A number of analysts have been talking about it. Many have mentioned, the need to diversify the economy. They say that we continue to talk about this, but we've not done enough as far as diversification of the economy is concerned. Some have spoken about cutting cost of governance, which is something that appears like when it is talked about, political leaders don't really want to have that discussion. Just last week, the president of the Senate was saying, "How about you focus on the work we do and focus less on this jumbo pay that you continue to talk about." Are these things things that we really want to do, or there are things that we just continue to talk about? Do you also agree that we didn't do enough, or there's more we could have done as far as some of these areas are concerned, so as to have avoided this recession?
Yeah, well, to be candid and sincere, we've not really done enough. We are just paying lip service to all these issues we have brought about, diversification of the economy, and it's just paying lip service. Just last week, the Minister of Petroleum, you may say State Minister, whatever, he signed an MOU with a Nigerian refinery, to be importing fuel. What happens to our refineries here? Why should we still be spending money? We're already importing fuel. We are creating additional outlets for importation again. And we talk about diversification of economy. Well, I mean, we are just saying lip service to this. The Senate president that is talking about, I mean, the last time the Senate purchased vehicles, there was a clamor that Innocent and some other kind of local car manufacturing companies should be getting that contract. Did they give them? Do you know how much that would have translated, that would have been injected into the economy of this nation if that had been taken? If that had been taken, I don't think it would have been, it would have ameliorated the situation. So we're just paying lip service to this thing. The Senate president is not being sincere. There's no way you can extricate your jumbo pay to your activity to around that pay. So on their activities. What are the activities being done? What are the activities?
Anyway,
governance in Nigeria is highly expensive.
Let's talk about, just before we, we'll get into cost of governance in a moment, but let's pay some attention to this talks about diversifying the economy. At the start, what this administration spoke about was agric, saying that there's a lot that can be done with agriculture. They want to make it attractive, bring younger people into it, subsidize on some things, fertilizers, some agricultural seedlings, implements, and all of that, just to make it more attractive and make it better for people to engage in. We continue to hear about certain things, and we know of certain programs that have been on, the anchor borrowers, a number of state governments have also keyed into it, and some other independent programs by state governments. Are you saying that for agric, for example, this is not enough? Let's now talk about mining, states, not tapping their minerals enough and all of that. Are you saying, in essence, that would you say that as far as diversifying the economy is concerned, there's still a lot that can be done, or because you spoke about paying lip service to it earlier, are you saying nothing is being done, or it's just not enough?
I've said both. But let's look at it as not enough is being done. Not enough. Let me not say service. Not enough is being done to really warrant us seeing drastic changes. Now, if we just look at the lifespan of this administration alone, we're talking about 5 years, going into 6 years of continuous administration. Now, assuming they have ended in 4 years, what will we say is the gain of that administration? Because nothing is being done. Now, if we look at the sincerity of government, and which is what some aspects in one of my interviews program, which is what people also look at. The sincerity of government is not being displayed when government says we want to embark on this policy drive, this policy dimension. If you don't see it. Now, take a look at, you say you are banning rice because you want the local production to grow. It's good. But have you gone to any government function and you ate local rice, or local rice was being served? What is being consumed in Aso Rock? I've not been there, but I'm just asking questions. Just like the National Assembly don't want to consume locally made vehicles. If there's a policy that says an executive order, all government offices purchasing vehicles to purchase from locally made manufacturers, that would be a sincere drive, and people will see the sincerity in government. So let's just put it that way, that not enough is being made. Not enough. Some weeks ago or some months ago, I wouldn't know. I've not been able to verify how true that statement is. But they said, okay, the gold being mined in Zamfara, the minerals being mined in Zamfara, they are going to be paid into. I mean, they are not supposed to be paid into or whatever in government coffers. But crude being mined in some other regions also, they are paid into government coffers. Does that show sincerity? We're not serious with so many policy drives or directives in this nation. And the people are seeing, the people are watching. The body language does not match the statement being made by government.
I know that, especially when we talk about an economy getting into recession, what a number of finance experts always say is that you need to spend your way out of recession. And, it becomes a lot trickier this time when the resources are scarce because of the COVID, because of the dwindling oil prices. The revenue has dwindled drastically, at least according to figures that we have. And then usually what the governments would do is to go, around and borrow money. But we have a situation where a number of people have even complained that we're borrowing too much. The former Vice President Atiku Abubakar was saying we need to stop borrowing. So what is there for us to do? I don't know so much about the economic theories or models, but could you tell us what is there for us to do? Because as it stands, if we're going to spend our way out of it, we don't have so much money. If we're going to borrow, the belief is that we've borrowed too much already.
Yeah. To be candid, we've borrowed too many. But to get our way out of this recession, we must spend through. And we don't have the resources right now to spend through as in spending on the right thing. So we will still have to fall back on the option of borrowing, except if we have enough revenue. Because even part of the budget is based on borrowing. Part of government revenue on the budget is based on borrowing. So we still have to borrow. But like I said, which is the bane of all, borrowing is not the issue we have. The issue we have is, do we utilize those borrowings on what is intended? And that's the basic question. Do we utilize those borrowings on what is intended? No. So that's where we find ourselves. If we have to borrow to spend, if it's going to be sincere, that's the only option we have to get out of this recession quickly and fast. But will we see the gains of those spending, of those borrowings? If they are not channeled in the right direction, then we're just adding to our debt so far, which is worsening the economic situation.
All right. But anyway, just before I let you go, because I know that this is an issue that just to clarify, I know that you get into recession after 2 consecutive negative growths. Am I correct?
Yeah.
So when would we say, what do we need to see to say that we're out of it? Do we need to see 2 consecutive positive growths, or what exactly is it?
Well, you need to go to that also, because after the first quarter, I mean, I'm talking of the next quarter now, after this recession, we'll check our figures. If we are feeling it, we are feeling it. But if we are out of it, we could begin to celebrate, but we will need to wait for a confirmation, the following quarter figures also. So basically, you'll be talking of maybe another 6 months. to really say, yeah, we are out of the woods, we are out of recession, and begin to plan towards growth. If we are out of it in the next quarter's results, well, it's not enough. We will still plunge back in the following quarter.
Now, I know we did say I did say we'll get back into these talks about cutting cost of governance.
Yeah.
Is it that because when we look at say our budget, for example, and then you look at a lot of people have spoken about the National Assembly as an example, saying that they get a lot of money. The president of the Senate was talking last week. I'll reference that again, where he said, if we're talking about trillions of naira in the budget, they only get about 128 billion, and then he said it's just less than 1%. And so is it so much money that we can, I'm not saying we can't get a lot of money from from reducing cost of governance, but is it so much to avoid this recession, or is just a fraction of the number of things that we need to do to at least put our economy in a better state?
It's not just to get out of this recession. It is what we must begin to start doing if we are serious. I'm not saying if the economy is healthy, paying that large sum of money to the National Assembly or to the paycheck for each legislator he will be out of place. But you can't be paying that much when other sectors of the economy are suffering. When our unemployment rate is increasing, over 70% of our youth are on the street, are unemployed. And we have somebody earning that much, over 30 million naira in a month. How many people earn that in a year? How many people earn that in their lifetime? It's a mismatch. Just the same way I work in a bank, just the same way I was telling them that if banks be declaring bogus profits then in an economy that is ailing, then you find out where are they really making the money? Inside that economy that is not healthy. So it's not just to get out of the recession, it's until we bounce back economically. If some other sectors can be posting black profit, and we know that they are not make-up figures, then I don't know if the legislator goes that much. But for now, it also translates to change on the part of government. And it's part of the cost of governance. Yeah, we can say that's the only one that is quick to come in. But there have to be others.
Can we do any better? Can we do any better as far as the generated revenue is concerned? Because in a number of I know that tax is another thing that would raise a lot of interest at this time. Incidentally, this is not the time to even think about raising anything as far as tax is concerned. In fact, the finance minister had to say it clearly while announcing that the Federal Executive Council have approved the Finance Bill 2021. She had to state it out clearly that we are not thinking about raising taxes and all of that. So it appears like our options are just very limited at this time. Options that would be available regularly because of the current situation. It appears that they're just very limited at this time, don't you think?
Well, they are very limited because we don't want to look inward. And by looking inwards, we need to be, there's something we call economic re-engineering. We also need to be focusing on adding reduction in cost of governance as part of revenue to government. As part of revenue to government. And that means that if there are areas identified as consuming so much, then we need to reduce their consumption and plow back those sectors that have been cut into other productive areas. So that will serve as a revenue. If you talk of tax the rich, tax the legislators, tax those people who are earning so much. You find that most of what they are earning are not taxable. They're not taxable. And that's why they can afford to spend that much. If it is on tax, then to reduce what comes to them. So we need to look towards, and there are ways out. There are ways out. If there's sincerity, and I keep hammering on that. If there's sincerity on the part of government.
All right, Mr. Michael Ashadi, thank you for talking to us this morning. Because we will keep an eye on the economic situation. We'll see how it goes. But for you, you're not expecting. Are you hopeful that this is something we'll get out of very quickly, or this is something that might drag on for a while?
I see it dragging on for a while. Maybe in the third quarter from now, we may get some changes. I don't expect any positive things in the next quarter period from what I think. Yeah, I want government to prove me wrong on that. What is happening, I don't see us getting out of it within a short while.
All right. Mr. Michael Ashadi, thank you very much for talking to us this morning. Great to have your thoughts on the program. Mr. Michael Ashadi is a finance analyst speaking to us. I think he spoke to us from Delta State this morning, and sharing his thoughts as far as the country plunging into recession for a second time in I think about 5 years now, and it's gotten a number of people talking. And he went on and continued to hammer on sincerity of government, saying there are ways out of this because from my just like I did ask him from my little knowledge of what they talk about the economy and recession, quite a number of things I mentioned. They say you have to spend your way out of it. You can, get some more revenue from taxes and a number of other issues. But, we don't have so much money to spend now. This is not the time to raise taxes. You really don't want to do that. The government has come and said they won't be doing that. So it just appears like the options are limited. But he says that there are various ways for us to get out of it, reducing cost of governance, and a number of other things. More importantly for him, this government has to be sincere about wanting to do all of these things. Anyway, at Fresh FM, Abeokuta on Twitter. That's where you drop your contributions. I'll get into some of them in a moment. If you're watching live on Facebook, drop your contributions via that avenue as well. 0815 432 1079, 0815 432 1079, or 0818 111 1079, 0818 111 1079. Those are the numbers to call to talk to us this morning.
Good
Hello.
morning, Mr. Wale.
Good morning to you.
Yeah, this is Olakon calling from Milano.
Good morning, Mr.
I
Olakon.
think what government needs to do at this point is to ensure that there is increase in productivity. If the GDP can increase, the issue of the recession will be the issue of the past. Now, how can government increase productivity? There is need for government to make the cost of running business to reduce it, to do what they can do, so that because of production can be reduced. The cost of production is too high.
You're talking about the ease of doing business now.
Ease of doing business. And now you can see the investors are not being attracted to come down to Nigeria to produce because their basic amenities are not adequately available. And again, the people that are even doing business is not easy for them. They spend a lot on production, and what's the yield at the end of the day? What's the yield? The government should ensure that the cost of running business is too they reduce it drastically, so that people will be encouraged to be producing one thing or the other. They can be even be giving loans to small scale business enterprises. Thank you very much.
All right, Mr. Alcom. Thank you for your contribution. All right. 0815 432 1079, 0818 111 1079. Those are the numbers. Because a number of the things that he raised, very valid points, issues that have been raised over time. The ease of doing business is something that gets a lot of people worried, in this part of the world. And he spoke about investors. The vice president was in a meeting with the Nigerians in diaspora last week, trying to get them to.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, good morning to you. What's your name? Where you're calling from? Please turn down the volume on that radio. Thank you.
I'm just coming from Odega.
All right, Mr. Stephen, talk to us.
Yeah, I want to talk about the recession comparing the
Yes,
topic
go
you are
ahead.
on.
Go ahead.
Firstly, if you look at Nigeria, our government will borrow for consumption. We borrow for infrastructure. You can't borrow money to do that and prosper. Are you getting me? So how can a nation continue to borrow for feeding? You can only borrow for investment. When you borrow for investment, then you proceed for investment, you'll be able to return the debt. Are you getting me now? Again, they close border. If you look from what I can see that opening of border or closing of border is not the problem of Nigeria. We're supposed to have accrued a lot of resources, a lot of profit by closing of border. Well, you can see that it's compounding the problem. It's compounding the problem. All the money that government has spent in, what do they call it, agricultural sector, we have nothing to show for it. The law of comparative advantage says if you have a nation that can produce something cheaper more than you, it's better for you to look elsewhere for another thing for you to do. It's better for you to bring those things into the country. If you can get a bag of rice at the Benin Republic, 10,000 naira, and the one we are producing in Nigeria here, 25,000 naira. What? So that means the economy. What are you saying?
All right.
These people, the money that I supposed to have used for another thing, I'm now using it to buy a bag of rice, 25,000 naira in Nigeria, where I can get it 10,000 naira cheaper. So what are we saying? These people in government, they don't know how to do it. It's not compulsory that they should be there. They should resign. If this kind of things happen in another nation, government should resign easily.
All
not
right,
that
Mr.
somebody
Stephen.
will force them out of government. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Stephen. Understandably emotional about his things, talking about what, money that you could save for something and then he has to use it on a bag of rice, for example. I totally understand the emotions. Thank you for your contribution. At Fresh FM at Belgota as well on Twitter for you is available to drop your contributions. If you're watching on Facebook, feel free to drop your contributions via that avenue as well. Quite a number of you joined us already via Facebook. I know we'll be saying hello. Thank you very much for joining us. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Good morning to you. Yes, good morning. We can barely hear you. All right, Mr. Lai, go ahead. Hello? Oh, sorry about that. We were always struggling to hear you. You might have to try again, Mr. Liam. 0815-432-1079, 0818-111-1079. Those are numbers to call to talk to us this morning. Platform Radio on Fresh 107.9 FM Abeokuta. Thank you for staying with us. Just about 7 minutes thereabout before I leave the studio this morning. I've been talking about a lot of reactions that have trailed the announcement that the country has entered recession. Because recession is something that happens after you have experienced 2 consecutive quarters of negative growth, and that is exactly what has happened with us. The second and third quarter figures not so great. Some are saying the fourth quarter figures will not be in any way different, and some are even already talking about how long this will take. But the vast majority of discussions is on what we could have done or what we can begin to do to make sure that we get out of this. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Wale.
Good morning to you.
Yeah, we are talking about...
What's your name? What's your name, sir? Where are you calling from?
Bola Akinola from Iganlade.
All right, good to have you join us, sir.
Okay. This recession, we do not begin to talk about what is the cause. We should find solution.
All right.
We should suggest solution. And these are my suggestions. Reduce governance. Stop borrowing. Develop internal petroleum and don't import from foreign countries. Those are the three suggestions I have. Reduce governance, stop borrowing, and refine our
refining ability. All right.
internally.
Thank you. Thank you very much for your contribution. Hello, good morning. Okay, do try again. 0815-432-1079, 0818-111-1079. Interestingly, when we have discussions of this nature, a number of us have suggestions, talk about all these things. And, when we talk about them, they sound so easy. They sound, well, these are the options. Why don't we just go right ahead and do it? But, it then brings up the talks about sincerity of government, political will, and all of that. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning to you. Please speak up. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Joseph on the line.
We can barely hear you. You might have to speak up a bit.
Mr. Joseph on the line.
All right, Mr. Joseph, you're calling us from where?
From Abantoko.
All right, go ahead.
It was on ground this time around, very high. I thank God for what government spoke last time about this production of rice in business.
Also happening in but to
done this, blah, 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 and everything. Where did they end up into? Are we really diversified? One. Two, are we not deceiving ourselves? Like the previous caller called, said, did have about a call from Wale, suggesting so many things. Yes, you are right. Do they listen to the suggestions? Do they listen to the government, listen to the think tanks? Do you know what is in their mind they are going to do? We have been shouting all these days, cut cost of governance. Did they ever cut cost of governance? Let me use Oguse for example. Consultant on something, a special advisor on something, senior special advisors on something, commissioner for this on something, and this and all sort of things. And is it a multiplication of duties, or is it just jobs for the boys?
All right,
government functionaries and encourages. Do we cut it? Security allowance to the governor. Is it a legalized fraud? Can't we stop it?
All right,
we can see the police, we can see them. They are rickety vehicles and everything. What have they done with the security allowances? All the previous governors, let them come and account for it. Can they do that? Instead, we are using politics for it. Look at what they did to Benisi governor, probing their security allowances. And did they ever probe another security allowance? And what is the result of it?
All right. Thank you very much.
Right.
I know
you have a lovely day.
I know you could go on and on. Interesting points raised there. Points that have been raised over time. You spoke earlier, about how, we continue to talk about these issues and all, but at the end of the day, even if we continue to talk about it, if you continue to bring your suggestions and it appears like they are not being listened to, that's not a reason for you to stop. I'm sure you want a better country, you want better things for yourselves, you want better life for yourself, you want better life for your kids. So there's a need to continue to clamor and make these calls, and hopefully one day things will turn out the way you want them to be. Anyway, I'm not sure I'm going to be able to squeeze in any more calls this morning because of my time. I have to be out of here in about 2 minutes, but a number of things that you've raised very crucial because many of them are somewhat similar to what a number of economic experts have mentioned, because we spoke with Mr. Michael Ashade a lot earlier, and he raised some of these things. I think I saw on the report on one of the dailies, was it the Punch this morning? They spoke with Professor Pat Utomi, seasoned economist, who spoke about the need for government to rebuild the trust of the people, saying that the cost of governance has been growing for years, and in his opinion, he believed it even got worse recently. And then he said it's important for the country to move from consumption to production, saying that Nigeria, the country, is oriented to consuming what they do not produce or what we do not produce. It says Nigeria's economy does not produce. Public policies are geared towards sharing revenue than production. The fact that the environment for production is made hostile by government policies and weaker institutions has not made it any easier. We have to do everything to avoid going the way of Venezuela, which is currently experiencing total economic collapse and hyperinflation. Those are some of the things that he said. Because there are some other people, the Abuja Chamber of Commerce and Industry, they had a number of things to say. The Nigeria Electricity Regulatory Commission, they also had things to say. So many, groups and individuals have been saying so many things, and a number of their suggestions quite similar. And unfortunately, these are things that we've continued to talk about over the years. And you begin to wonder, are they so difficult to achieve? Or is it that those in government are seeing things differently? Is it that they don't think things are so bad? I saw one of the tweets earlier this morning where someone said, well, the figures released by the MBS, those are just official figures. When you look at the pocket of an average Nigerian, he's always been in recession. Someone said that in one of the messages to us. And these are things that tell you what the situation is out there. And then you just begin to wonder, what is the feedback that those making those decisions are getting? Hopefully, like I said, we'll get what we want eventually. The country will get to the level that we want it to get to. But please do not ever get tired of making these calls or clamoring for the country that you want. That's the program this morning. Many thanks for being a part of it. Many thanks to you who joined us on Facebook Live. Thank you for your thoughts. Thank you for those who talked to us via the phone lines. If you did try to talk to us and we couldn't get to talk to you, apologies. I'm sure we'll pick this up at another time. Many thanks to Mr. Michael Ashade, who spoke to us a lot earlier via the phone line. Wale Bakare is my name. Enjoy your Monday. I wish you the very best this week. Remember, like I said at the very start of the program, the COVID-19 pandemic still very much with us. There's a need for us to continue to obey all guidelines. Wear your face masks, wash your hands with soap and water, use alcohol-based sanitizers. Just be safe. Good morning.
Fresh FM Abeokuta 107.9. Fresh FM 107.9 Abeokuta. Yay! Ó nìkan ló lè